Hey there, it's you from the future. Please don't build a custom ATS. Let me tell you why. Hey everyone, and welcome to this episode of Salesforce for Recruiters. I'm your host as always, Brad Owens, and I was just like you. I spent well over a decade running my own recruiting firm using various pieces of technology that never really fit what I wish they could do for me. And then I found Salesforce and I went, where has this been all my life? And since then, I've dedicated my career to helping this industry understand what Salesforce can truly do for you and why you should be using it to run your business. On today's episode, I want to talk about a trap that I fell into and that I just had a conversation with someone who did the exact same thing last week, who happened to build their entire ATS on their own tech. They used various pieces of hardware. They had JavaScript running. They had a website built. They had all sorts of different things. And they finally screamed uncle. They went, all right, this is enough. We are too far behind. We can't keep up. There are so many things that I didn't anticipate about building this kind of ATS on my own custom hardware using developers and everything else. And I want to talk to you about their story and about my story too, and why I think you should avoid it at all cost. And that comes down to why you should not build your own custom ATS. Get it all out in the open. We have to start with one of the most difficult parts of this. It's time to develop. If you're going to build your own custom ATS, it's going to take you time. What are you going to do during that time to still make placements? Your placements are going to fall off. Your top of funnel candidates are going to get lost in the shuffle. Your recruiters aren't going to really know who's doing what because you're trying to track everything on spreadsheets. It's going to be a pain in the butt. No one's going to know where placements stand. You're going to have things start falling through the cracks. And on top of that, not only are you hindering your business by not having the correct thing to run it on, you're also going to be taking your mental energy and your time to start developing this thing on the side. These developers don't know what to build without you involved. So as you're getting new releases like a v.1 and a .2, a .3, all the way through these different releases until you feel comfortable running your entire business on this tech stack, that's taking time away from your actual business. What does 6 months to a year of your time cost? What could that do for your business? That's what I at least didn't think about because I was running things on spreadsheets and thinking it was okay. But looking back, I was like, oh my gosh, I lost out on so much money because I was so focused on just this building this custom thing. It's unique for me. It's great. And I wish I would have paid more attention to the actual business loss of taking that time away from my business. Now, when I built my own ATS, I was using various resources of people that I knew, connections that I had made, people who swore up and down, hey, we can absolutely build this for you. It's going to be great. And they did build it. And it was pretty good for our business. It was exactly what we needed. It supported the way that we recruited. And then we got I think it was about 8 months in, and we had something break and no one could log in. So I reached out to call the people that had built it for me, and it took them like 2 or 3 days to get back to me. And I went, wait a minute. What are we actually doing here? Why did we actually build this thing? How are we going to keep up with this? How are you going to keep up with the ongoing maintenance of this custom ATS that you built yourself? If any piece of your tech stack fails, the whole thing's just offline, just stops. If they haven't built it correctly so that you have some sort of backup plan, what are you going to do? If you've got interviews happening and placements that are going on, like who are you going to call? This person did not have that option. And when you think about different resources that are out there for yourself of things that you can use, you want to be using an ecosystem that allows you to call someone when something breaks, to have a backup plan. People that have servers in different areas that you can log into if one of them's down and the other one's up. You don't have that if you start building custom, and you're going to be into a world of hurt if you don't have an ecosystem that can live up to that 99.9% uptime guarantee that something built custom just doesn't have. You're going to end up with use cases where you can't use your tech, and you can't have that if you're running a business. Another thing that I realized after running my own custom tech stack for about 6 to 8 months was, oh, this is awesome. We're doing great things. This is working the exact way that I hoped it would. And then I wanted to add something new, because there's this whole hot new thing out on the market that I wanted to be able to use. At that time, it was a dialer. It was the ability to actually text from within a system. And I was like, oh, get people off their phones. Let's start putting it through our system. And then I reached out to my developer. I was like, hey, can we get this stuff integrated? They're like, yeah, sure. Like, just give us some time. This isn't the most easy thing to do. So this might take another 6 months for us to be able to get it integrated. Meanwhile, all of my competitors who were using big tools that had the ability to integrate things like that, or that had their own custom development budgets that could build these things into their ecosystem without me having to ask for it, they were already using it. I was getting behind. So not having the ability to just use the best tech out there and instead having to build in new features all the time, I realized something. You will always be behind if you build your own custom ATS. Always. Because you're waiting for your developers to get this new idea that you had thought of 5 weeks ago, 2 months ago, into production. Or you're waiting for them to take advantage of all this new AI tech, for example, that's coming out. How are they going to build that? You're 6 months behind, guaranteed. All the other tech that's out there is already using this. So you're going to start losing out to your competitors really quickly. So how important is it to you to have full control versus having the best and being at the top of your game? Something you're going to have to weigh if you're doing this. If I had to look back at my time using a custom ATS and developing that and using my own tech stack, one of the big things that stood out to me as the largest miss that I didn't think of is the tools that I could actually use and how they were going to integrate with my system. So I'll give you an example. We started this entire journey with a resume parser that we had that we could email resumes into or just forward an email if we got a resume, and it would auto-populate into our database and we'd have all that data ready to go. It worked great. And then there was a new one that came along that I was like, ooh, that one's way cooler. I want to use that one. But we were stuck. Like, did I really want to pay another 3 to 6 months of developers to integrate that one into our system so that we could use that resume parser instead? And then we had an issue with a time tracking tool that just went out of business that was integrated into our suite. And I went, oh, crap. Now what do I need to do? I need to call my developers. I need to get them to integrate a different time tracking tool. And that was tied to our payroll. And now, oh, crap, we're going to have to get a different payroll tool so that we can integrate with this thing. It just became a gigantic mess. We had no true ecosystem that integrated into our system. And we were stuck. Whenever something changed or we wanted to use a different tool, we just had to look at all those things and be like, oh, that's really nice. I wish we could use that. If we were on a better system, we'd have the ability to use all the cool tools that are out there and just integrate them at will. So that was a big misstep that I think we didn't really think about ahead of time. If I were to boil all this down into my one biggest takeaway for why I feel like if you are thinking about building a custom ATS, I want to plead with you, please don't do it. Start using a larger ecosystem. Is your business process will change. Your tech stack, if you build custom, won't. You're going to be locked into the processes that you built from day one, unless you want to pay someone to change that. You're going to be locked into the way that you did business and the tools that you used for that, unless you pay someone to change it. You're going to be locked into the tech that you're using and not be able to use all the new AI and all the fun new tools that are coming out unless you pay someone to do it. You are hindered constantly. You are constantly behind. And what I really didn't kind of piece together until it was really too late of using this thing, and I just had to say, all right, enough is enough. When I had to go through my third big development in changing our business process and our core logic built into our system, I just finally went, gosh, this is taking so much time just to adapt to a little change we wanted to do in our business that we recognized was making huge changes into the successes that we were having. To be able to incorporate that change, we're just like, gosh, we have to call the developers up. We have to scope a whole new project. We have to work through a new epic and user stories and all this stuff. We're just like, we just want to make a single change. It just kept becoming such a gigantic headache that I really wish we wouldn't have gone down that path of custom building. I wanted to have a flexible, easy to use system that we could change at will, that we could incorporate a whole bunch of different things into. And I just found it too late. And I can tell you from personal experience and from all the different conversations that I have, build something inside of Salesforce. Use the tools that are there to assemble the tech stack that you truly want. Look at the Asymbl ATS. It's asymbl.com. It's actually here on my shirt. Yes, I stand to gain by you getting this amazing piece of technology, but congratulations, you have an amazing new piece of technology. I mean, I wouldn't be working at this company if I truly didn't believe that they are changing the game for how you can recruit. And I bought into the Salesforce ecosystem, and I wish I would have done it years and years and years ago. It's just tremendous what you're able to do. All of these pain points that I've listed off are no longer an issue. They're not. Talk to the thousands of companies that are using and how easy it is to start switching things up on Salesforce. Talk to the people that are taking advantage of the $4 billion of yearly spend that Salesforce does to develop on their platform and get you all these new amazing features. That's not something your tech team that you have on the side or your sister's cousin that may have the ability to develop something in Java that you're like, oh, that's really cool. They don't have $4 billion a year to develop new AI features. So what I want to hammer home here is while short term, you may get a huge gain from building custom because you're like, oh, it's unique to exactly how we want to do business. You are losing out on so much more possibilities into the future. So even if you have a tech stack that you're super happy with that you built custom, heed this message. Understand this warning that you're in for a world of hurt. It's coming. You may not feel it now, but it's coming. I've been there. I talked to a customer last week that's currently living through it. It's going to happen. You may feel like you're on a solid foundation right now, but it's not going to be that way for long. So I hope this at least opens your eyes to what's possible on the other side. Look at Salesforce. I'm telling you, I have seen tons and tons of companies from top 10 recruiting firms in the world all the way to solopreneurs that are doing their own thing inside of Salesforce. And they are all tremendously impressed with what it's able to do. Make the switch to Salesforce. It's the way of the future for recruiting. I promise you, I'm seeing it every single day. So with that, I want to turn you loose. Thank you so much for watching another episode of Salesforce for Recruiters. And since you made it this far into the episode, I want to offer up a little bit of a gift to you. Send me an email. If you've got questions about how to actually take advantage of Salesforce, send me an email. It's hello@bradowens.com. I'm going to answer your question directly through that email. I may even build an entire episode around your question, or I do user submitted question episodes. Every once in a while, if I build up enough questions, and I want to make sure that you get your questions answered. I'm happy to do that for you. So again, it's hello@bradowens.com if you want to send me a message. But otherwise, I want to thank you again for making it this far into the episode. I'll see you on the next episode of Salesforce for Recruiters. Bye.